Welcome to the joys of live streaming. What a bummer. We're having some issues with Restream at the moment, so we've got some folks that were looking to join us over in YouTube land, where is typically the best performance. But obviously, we've got to get a software Restream to get us over to the YouTube land. Hopefully, we'll get all this straightened out, all this tech stuff. Nigel and I have been working behind the scenes to solidify everything, get off of Zoom, have a better experience over on YouTube. So we're still in that transition phase. So say hi in the chat. Tell me where you're calling in from, where you happen to be watching from today. And let me know if you can see and hear me, obviously. Those of you who are joining us over on Zoom, I'm going to see if we can get us connected over to the stream on YouTube. So I apologize for those of you folks who happen to tune in over on YouTube. Unfortunately, we've got some technical issues. As you folks well know, that is the joys of live streaming. So, hi, Elaine from the UK, Ramona from Albuquerque, New Mexico. We are glad to have you folks on today with us. Let's see who else we got on here. We got Adam, Amit, Elaine, Eric, Jack, Jason, Kartik, Kathy, Lori, Mark, Neil, Oliver, Ramona, and Thomas McClendon. So Neil says he can hear and see everything just fine, and he is from Chicago. So fellow Midwesterner, I'm a couple states over from you in Ohio. It is a beautiful fall day here in Ohio. Gorgeous sunshine. It's going to be 70 degrees today. I don't know what that equates to those folks who are watching in the UK. But if you want to do that quick math conversion for me, let me know. That would be awesome. Eric is tuning in from Maryland. He can hear me okay. Obviously, you can see my big orange ugly mug on the screen too. Just let me know how that's translating over into Zoom land. Again, we've had 1 month it's issues with Zoom. Now we're having issues with Restream, getting it over on YouTube. But we will get this figured out. I promise you, we will have. Our goal is to do everything over in YouTube land. Comments come through much quicker. I can actually put them up on the screen. Anyway, all kinds of good fun stuff. We've got Eric is new to the Tech Tribe, enjoying the content and learning Growably. Kathy is from Maryland. Eric is also from Maryland. I don't know what the weather's like for you folks. Elaine says it is cold over in the UK. Unfortunately, I think that's par for the course for you folks. I was watching somebody the other day who moved from the UK's now living in Thailand for like the last 16 years. And he said it's basically like one weather pattern and then you get like a month of summer. But that's why he's over in Thailand now. So, okay, give me a thumbs up that you can see the screen okay. You can see my big ugly face because we're actually going to do live workshop today. We're going to do something we haven't done on previous calls, but it is user-generated content today. So we'll get to that. So Kathy says everything's good for her. Awesome. I'm going to take a quick drink here, and we'll get rolling. Let me know whether or not this is the first time that you've caught the show as well. I'm always curious to see who's joining us. Obviously, Eric being new to the Tech Tribe, this might be your first live Growably session, so we welcome you. And I'm going to go ahead and flip over to our handy-dandy slides, just so I can give you a rundown. Those of you who are on the call for the first time, I'm going to go through the agenda of what we're going to cover today. Those of you who have joined on previous calls, you kind of know how things go on these calls. Neil said it is his second session. So welcome back. Appreciate you having back. Marshall said he is good. So let's just run through our agenda today. We're going to talk a little bit about the latest news, things that have been released from High Level. And those of you who are new to the Tech Tribe, new to Growably, this is not a Tech Tribe CRM platform. It's actually High Level. It's gohighlevel.com. But this is the Tech Tribe branded version of that, which is Growably. So we're going to talk about some of the new features that have rolled out over the last month since our last call that affect our Tech Tribe members. Then we're going to dive into how do we convert, those of you who are on Mailchimp, put in the chat too whether or not you have used Mailchimp or you're still on Mailchimp, because we've done some previous calls and that seemed to be the winner. A lot of people were on Mailchimp and converting over, but we had a user-generated question in the forum for how do I get started with Growably? How do I get my nurture campaigns set up inside of Growably so that I can start using that and close down Mailchimp? So we're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to show you exactly how to do that. Marshall has used Mailchimp in the past for clients, so a lot of people are familiar with Mailchimp. Also, one of the things that we started a few months ago, we're going to give some member shout outs for members that are taking action, getting things done, seeing results, and sharing with the community. And that's what it's all about, is sharing our successes, sharing with each other so that we can shortcut that process to success together. That is what Nigel is dedicated to doing, is getting you across that finish line to success in whatever form that means for you. But that's what it's all about. So we're going to give a couple shout outs to some folks who have contributed to the community and are actually taking action and getting things done. So Amit, you're the first. He is tuning in from the Rock of Gibraltar. So I think you definitely win the most unique place. I think somebody has checked in on one of these live streams. So welcome to the live stream today. And then we're going to have some dedicated time at the end for you folks to be able to ask questions. But if you do have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat. And if you want to mark those with a Q, do Q : and then ask your questions. That way I can scroll through and I can be able to see those questions in the chat. But before we switch over and talk a little bit about the latest news, everybody we did have some more folks joining us. So give me a thumbs up that you can hear and see everything okay before we get into the deep dive inside of Growably. All right, and again, if you want to use the chat to ask questions or the Q&A box, whatever is best for you, I'm monitoring that over here on my giant 32-inch monitor, and then we're going to go in here and dive into Growably here in a minute. So let's talk about, first of all, some sad news to report. I want to put this in the Zoom window as well. Our tribal mascot, if you haven't heard, Zara lost her battle with cancer. So that's Nigel's pup, is unfortunately no longer with us. So I put that in a link to the chat. So maybe after the show, you can give Nigel a quick shout out in the tribe. Just let him know, him and the family, that we're thinking about him, because we know how our furry friends become part of our family very quickly and how tragic it is when we lose our furry friends. All right, so again, sad news, but let's get into the news of the day and get into our content today. So the latest news from High Level, if you haven't heard as well, one of the features that we've been waiting for months is the bulk upload to social media. And if you'll notice in your action packs, still got that Microsoft thing. If you'll notice in your monthly marketing pack, one of the things that showed up this month is a Growably CSV file. And if you'll notice that here, there is a December 2022 Growably CSV file, and that allows you to import all of the social media posts right into your Growably account automatically for you. So that is one of the cool things that Nigel has enabled for you. So how many are you actually using the social media posts, or how many of you are actually still maybe using Hootsuite or HubSpot or something else? Go ahead and drop that in the chat. Let me know. I'm always curious to see what folks use. I think Publer was another one there, Zoho. So lots of CSV files in there. Jason's using Publer. Yeah, just again, put in the chat. Let me know which one you're still using. Ramona's using Zoho. Elaine's using the blog to social via WordPress, so she's using that. Deliver It from Neil. So again, a wide variety of social media posting tools out there. But yeah, you've got all of that capability built within Growably. So something to think about if you want to transition over at some point. You do have access to that automatically inside of your Growably platform, and that is actually in the marketing tab. And if you come into marketing, and then you have your social planner. I've already got one account set up, so you might get a get started window for the first time, and that allows you to connect your social media accounts. But one of the things we've been waiting for is the ability to upload from CSV, and that went live. Finally, we've been voting on that for months, waiting to see that to make that process much smoother with getting the social media post. That way you can do all your tracking, all that good fun stuff right in one place. Speaking of social media tools, one of the other social media platforms that became available since last Growably call was TikTok. How many folks using TikTok out there? That's always one of those ones I'm always curious to see. I'm not on TikTok myself, but I like to see if others are having success with TikTok. I'm all for learning new things. But yeah, that is one of the things that became available since our last call was the TikTok social media platform as well. Okay, so latest news is done. There wasn't a whole lot. There's much more. Most of the updates that came with high level were more dedicated to Nigel's space in the back end, improvements, those types of things that affect Nigel and the rest of the hardworking folks in the back end who keep the Growably site going and deliver content. So one of the things that was brought up in the tribal forums, I'm going to switch back over so I can show you that post. Mark Howarth posted last week on November 3rd. He wanted an idiot's guide to sending nurture campaigns in Growably. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to actually show you how to do that with a couple caveats. A couple caveats that we're going to have is that you've done some of the work that Mark has done already. And one of the things he's already done, he's imported all of his contacts from Mailchimp. So he's got all of those contacts imported into Growably. He's changed his contact details, and he sent himself a nurture email just to test the content, make sure everything looks well. So now he wants to remove all of the Growably text, and I'm going to show you where that's at in a minute, and then get the email templates turned into a marketing campaign so he can drip feed to his contacts on a weekly basis. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. And how many of you have contacts in Growably? You've done some type of export out of your current CRM and have imported into Growably. So give me a thumbs up or just, yes, I've done that in the chat. That way I can kind of see and gauge where everybody's at so that we can kind of figure out what training that we're going to need to continue to provide inside the tribe so that you folks have maximum use, maximum ROI for your investment with that free tool that is Growably. So again, I'm going to wait a minute or so. Just let me know whether or not you've got your contacts imported. There is no grade. We're not going to grade you on this. I'm just, like I said, I'm curious to see where folks are at in their Growably process and how we can do a better job from the team tribe side to be able to help you get using that tool so that you can get your marketing built into a system. Yeah, Ramona says, nope, not yet. Elaine, not imported yet. A quick how-to would be good. Haven't imported yet, just a sample to try out to import. Mark says not yet, but planning on doing that by the end of the year. Again, we're not grading anybody. I just want to see where folks are at. Lori says not yet. So where to do that very quickly inside of Growably. So I'm going to go back over to Growably, and then I'm going to come in here to contacts. So inside of contacts, you've got you've got an export contacts, and then you've got import contacts. So if I click on import contacts, we're going to upload our file here, but you want to read this article here, ready to be imported. So when I click on that, it's going to take me to the article. Actually, this is a ClickUp document on how to upload that CSV file. So let's see here, who had asked for that? Quick how to, Elaine. So this is how you would format that CSV file. And again, that's right inside of, let me go back in here so I can show you again. So you go import contacts, and then you can upload your file here, either drag and drop it, in there as well. Elaine said, is there a way of placing in groups? Yes, that's part of the file. Let me cancel this. Yeah, you can have a column for, let's see, all the different column headings. So yeah, I have, the contact owner, tags. So I don't know what CRM you're using right now, Elaine, but you can have your groups can be tags. So you can have them all in there. See here, what are the others? So yeah, a lot of those, we use tags, and that way you can create smart lists inside of the contacts inside of Growably as well. So you can manage your smart lists right inside there, and one of those would be groups. I'm assuming you're probably talking like your newsletter group, Elaine, would be my guess. Because I had a newsletter group when we did our import. That way I knew, okay, of these people who have this tag, that's my newsletter list tag. I came over from Keep/Infusionsoft. I went back a ways with Infusionsoft, probably half a decade. So different categories, current clients, office managers, CTOs. Yeah, that's all, in your contact fields. Yeah, you can put contact source. So all of this information can be a column in there, Elaine. So see if that's in there. So additional information. Yeah, you can put in their social media. So that's all, built inside of Growably. But I believe that might be at the company level. Yeah, so that you can do company level searches as well. So you can have, just go in here and we'll do a new company real quick. Yeah, I believe when you do that, Elaine, you can have the current clients. Those would be, I would use tags because that's the easiest convention inside of Growably. I would have tags, and again, that would be in the tag column. So you can have current clients, office managers, CTOs, as many tags as you want. That makes it easy to go in and create smart lists. So you can, again, this is a demo account inside of Growably for me. So I don't have a whole lot of data in here. But yeah, great. Elaine said that helps her. Perfect. So now you kind of got the reference of tags. Let me know, Elaine, too, which CRM you're coming over from. I'm always curious to see what people are moving over from, so I have a point of reference, whether or not I've used that tool. VBout, I've never not heard of that one. Lori's from Infusionsoft. Yeah, so you'll kind of get the tag reference, Lori. Yeah, so you'll very much all this will kind of make sense when we start to do the workflow builders a little more simplified than Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft got pretty crazy with their builder. Ramona's coming over from Shopify. Okay, great. So we're going to assume that you've got the contacts, and again, what we're going to do is pick up from there. Going back to Mark's question, he wanted to be able to turn the email templates into a marketing campaign and drip feed to his contacts. So what I'm going to do right now is show you how to do that inside of Growably. So I'm going to get my checklist just to make sure I go right down the list here. So I'm going to go into Growably, then I'm going to come down here into marketing. And then if I go into emails and I go down to templates, one of the things that you have automatically with your marketing packs every month are all the nurture emails. So let me know if you see a folder inside of your Growably called Tech Tribe Nurture Emails. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Let me know if you see those inside of your Growably account. I always like to double check. Elaine said, yep, for her. Kathy said yes. Awesome. All right. All right. So what we're going to do is the first thing that you're going to want to do to set this up. And again, what we're going to do is create this for the first time. So the first time it's going to take us, maybe 10 minutes to do. But once we get this workflow built up with the emails in there, you'll be able to duplicate that for next month and then just change out the emails. This will make a lot of sense in a minute when I get into the workflow. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is obviously come in here to all of the December emails. So what we're going to do is, since we're almost halfway through November, we're going to assume that you're going to plan this out to roll out in December. So we're going to roll out all of these emails. So one of the things that Mark mentioned in his post was the remove text from all messages. And that's actually in here. So if I click inside of this email, you'll see what parts Nigel has put in there for you to be able to change. And you'll notice there is some attention text. He said, make sure that you update the URLs. So basically proofread through here and make sure that your information is included in here. So if you have links to blog posts, links to your social media, you want to make sure that you've got all of that information in there. But things like your user phone number, that pulls from the custom value. So that's already when you set up your Growably account and put in your phone number, that will actually put that phone number in there for you. So you shouldn't have to change any of the information, in the custom values. But again, as you proofread through, make sure that there aren't any changes. Maybe you want to change the verbiage a little bit. That was always the tough part with creating emails for us, is creating an email that fits in every single market across the world, because language, terminology, those types of things can differ. So you want to make sure you proofread the email and then obviously remove this text here and then go ahead and save your template. So you're going to want to do that for each of the templates that are in here for December. So here's all of our December emails. So that's step number one, is come in here, edit all of the email templates. Let me know if there's any questions on email templates or any of that good fun stuff, because you want to do this first, because now when we go in to build the workflow, this is what's going to trigger those emails automatically going out, because that's what we want. We don't want to have to do a separate email campaign every single week. We want these to automatically go out. Let me know if that makes sense. As we move on, we're going to switch over to the actual workflow. So we're going to assume that you've gone through and edited all of these email templates. And now we're going to go in here and build out the campaign. So to build out the automation, obviously you're going to go to Automation tab. You're going to click Automation. And if you're like me, you can create a new folder if you want. I like to keep things organized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Nurture Email Campaigns. And again, you can name this whatever you want. So this step, again, I'm just super nerdy. I like to have things nested in folders if that's available inside of High Level. So I'm going to go in here to Nurture Email Campaigns. And if you notice, it's blank. So we're going to go ahead and create a new one. You can do that up here with the green button, or click right here to create a new workflow. So right now, when we create this first one, we're going to create it from scratch. So that, again, this is, once you create this once, then we're just going to duplicate for each succeeding month. So this one, we're going to start from scratch, and then we're going to come up here and click Create New Workflow. And then, Lori, if you've seen this, it's kind of similar to Infusionsoft Builder. I think it's a little more cleaner, and for most, it's a little easier to understand. So first thing I want to do is I want to come up here, and as you see, it automatically puts in a new workflow title for you. So I'm going to remove that. So I'm going to call this, December 2022 Nurture Campaign. All right, so now I've given it a name. Now I need something to trigger this automation. So I'm going to come in here to add new workflow trigger. And this is why tags are super important. This is why it's for me, that's kind of, again, coming from the Infusionsoft world, this is what I'm used to. A tag can actually kick off a trigger. So what I'm going to do is come down in here to contact tag. I'm going to click that. So the workflow triggers a contact tag, and I can give that a name. And then I'm going to come in here to filters, and then I'm actually going to pick one. When a tag is added, and I already built one. We did this last night on last night's call. So again, you can call this whatever you want. But for me, I typed in action. So I like to see which ones are action triggers and start December 2022 campaign. So I'm just going to pick that one. So basically our contact trigger that's going to kick off this workflow is that contact tag is added, and it's this contact tag. When that's added, then it's going to kick off the rest of the email sequence. Let me know if that makes sense so far, and I'm going to go ahead and hit Save Trigger. Come over here to, I'm going to hit a little music, just a little background music, just to helps me think. That way you don't have to listen to me ramble on, because this is, again, we're 12:29-ish, so we've roughly been about 2 minutes doing this. So it might have taken you 10 or 15 minutes to edit the emails. Now we're going to come in here and build the workflow. Our goal, just to let you know, is to do the workflow building for you and roll that out with your marketing packs. But I think this is a good exercise for you to understand what Growably can do. That can give you ideas to take the ideas that we give you and run with it. So when that contact tag is added, now what I wanted to do is send an email. So I'm going to come in here to send email. Now, remember when we did the templates, I'm going to come down here to templates, and then I'm just going to do a search for December 2022. So I'm just going to take that first one that comes up. And as you can see, it automatically populated all that information for me based upon that template. So it did a lot of the work for me. One of the things that I like to do in the action name is kind of reference what that title is, so I know which emails went out on what date. That'll help you in the reporting functions too. So I want to call this one BYOD. So the BYOD email, you can send yourself a test message if you want to at this point, which I do recommend, just to make sure that the formatting, all that good fun stuff, everything is there. And then when you're done, you're satisfied, come down here and hit Save Action. So when that contact tag is added, it's going to send that email. Now what I want to do is put in a wait sequence. I want to wait a couple days before it sends the new one. So I'm going to click Action, come up here to Search Actions, and then that is called a wait tag. So if I just type in wait, W-A-I, it's going to bring that up. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to give this action name, and we're going to call this wait 3 days. So we have roughly about 8 emails, I believe, that Nigel gave you. So 8 times 3 is 24. So over a 24-day span, they're going to get an email every 3 days. So that seems to be a good enough time to wait. So I'm going to come in here, go to wait time. I'm going to change that to days. And then you're going to want to come into advanced view, because one of the things that you're going to want to do is so that people don't get sent emails that are like December's emails if it's January. If you come down in here to additional filters, and I can do current month. So if the current month is, and then we're going to do December. So I'm going to select December. So if the current month is December, it's going to send these emails out between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. based upon your time that is set inside of your Growably account. So there's my wait trigger, and then I'm just going to do Save Action. And then as you can see, there's email, wait 3 days. Now I'm going to have it send the next email. And again, I'm just going to repeat this process all the way through. Come down in here, select my next template. So let's get December, Click that next one. So I want to rename this data migration email. Again, send test if you want to, or just save action. So second email. Now, instead of doing all of this here with the wait 3 days, if I hit the little ellipsis tool here, I can actually go down to copy, and I can copy action. So I can copy that action, and then here, I'm going to copy it there. So there's email, wait 3 days, email, wait 3 days. Now I'm going to come in here again, select email, come down to my templates, December, and then we're going to call this feeling stressed. Again, send test message if you want, but go ahead and hit save action. As you can see, this is not very hard. Does this make sense to everybody as we're building this out? Let me know if there's any questions that you have on anything, or you want me to show you more details about anything. Please let me know. Cool. So I'm assuming Growably has an email opt-out. Yes, that's attached to all of the bottom of all of your emails. You'll have an email opt-out, and that's set in your preferences. So great question, Mark. Lori said in Infusionsoft, we have weekly security tips email go out to all users. When a user is added, they start at the beginning of the sequence of 52 weeks. Will that work the same in Growably? Yes. So if you have content, maybe I think I think you're part of Robin's world. So if you have maybe tech tips there and it's a 52 weeks, this is exactly it. It'll be the exact same workflow, Lori. So you'll have to come in here. All you're going to do is change your wait time. So if you want it to go out every 7 days, you just change that, the wait time to 7 days. And then you don't necessarily have to fill out the advanced filter. If you just want them to get all 52 emails, that's fine too. So yeah, it works the exact same premise. So thanks for that question, Lori. Great one. All right. So basically what I'm going to do is just continue trucking on. And we're just, like I said, we're going to build out the whole campaign here. I'm going to copy this action, come down here. Unfortunately, you can't speed me up in real time. Again, not super complicated, just a little time consuming. Okay, so stop accounts, hacked email, save action, copy action. All right, so let's see here. So now over the things to include. So I'm going to come back up here and put year end review. Anybody do technology reviews at the end of the year with your customers? What are some tips that you can give to everybody? Figure we throw that out there in the chat. Just one, yes or no. Do you do yearly technology reviews with your customers? I always like to see who does those. Elaine says no. Again, not a big deal. Something I might think about. So that was the best one to me, was having those ones in the fourth quarter. And I usually try to do those October, November, because here in the States, most people are checked out between November and December. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas. But I always like to do that. Eric says yes, he does. But I always like to do that because it gives me a chance to kind of do a year-end review and then help them plan out their next year as well. So it's just another way to add value as an MSP. All right, so I'm going to keep on trucking here. And again, keep the comments coming if there's any questions that you have. And again, like as you said, this isn't super complicated. It's just a little time consuming to do. So buyer's remorse. Can't type today. All right, save action. Copy action, put there. And as you can see, you see why I put that in there. that allows you to easily find out what's the next email in the sequence. So Microsoft Teams, love, hate email. We're almost done. We're almost done. So here's improve sales emails and hit save action. All right, so that's all of our emails. And one of the things that I like to do at the end, and depending on what your workflow is in your CRM right now, I can click here. And one of the things that I like to do is remove from workflow. So I can remove them from that current workflow. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit save. One of the things you could do, you could easily put a tag here at the end to add a tag all the way at the end that is maybe start January campaign. That way, anybody that's in this nurture sequence, when it goes through all of that sequence, it can remove them from this workflow and then maybe add them over to your January workflow. But again, we're going to try to build all of this out for you. But I think it was a good exercise to be able to show you how to actually create a workflow, especially if you've never used a CRM at all. So now what I need to do, I need to click save on this workflow. So now I've clicked save on the workflow. And one of the things you can do is I can test the workflow. And once I've tested it, then I can make sure that everything is good. And then don't forget this step. Don't forget to click on publish so that when you go to what we're going to do next is we need to actually add people to this campaign. Let me know if that makes sense so far before we jump to the next step, which is once we've published the workflow, then we've got to go back in and add people to it. But as you can see here, we created the one. If I want to create January's, all I have to do is click the clone button over here, and that will save you a lot of the work because the workflow is pretty much built for you. All you're going to need to do is come in and just change the email templates and then, the names of the emails. But once you've created that, and just think in terms of that, other things that you can do to trigger workflows where you want an automatic sequence of emails or text messages. If you saw in the campaign, there are a lot of triggers. You can send an email, an SMS. You can have it so that it schedules a phone call. You can use Twilio to send voicemails, Facebook Messenger, Instagram DM, manual SMS or calls, and the Google My Business message. So there's a lot of external communications that you can do, not just emails with High Level or Growably. All right, so no questions come in. I'm going to take a quick drink. So now that we've built out that workflow, we're going to go ahead over and we're going to add people to the workflow. All right, so if I come over here, over to back to, actually, we're going to go to contacts now. So now if you've imported your contacts, and let's just say you've got a tag for your newsletter list, Elaine. Like, for instance, if you have a newsletter list tag, you can easily add people to that. And that's where smart lists come up. I've got some built out in mine where I've got all of my smart lists across the top here that I have segmented out. One of them would be a newsletter. So I can either click that smart list, but as you can see, I've just got Han Solo and Luke Skywalker in here. So for the purposes of this demonstration, it's going to be super easy. So to add Han Solo and Luke Skywalker to this campaign, I can, check mark both of them here, and then I'm going to come up here to add tag. So now if I come up here and I add tag, there's my tag. I'm just going to pick your tag from whatever list you have. So there is the Start December campaign. And now for the purposes to be shown in the tracking report, we're going to add a description for this action. So we're going to do launch December 2022 nurture campaign. And then I'm going to click add. So now that they're added to that campaign, I can click inside of one of the contacts. We'll go inside Han Solo here. And if we go down, close this information. And now if I go into tags, and there's my tag. It's automatically added them to it. And you will also see it. You will also see what campaigns and workflows that they're in. So that's another way you could do it. You could come in here and add people to the workflow manually if you wanted to do that. But again, not super complicated. I like the tag feature because you can have it so that if they sign up on a form, it will automatically add that tag. Like Lori, for instance, if they sign up for an online form that you have built inside of Growably or on your WordPress site where it'll push into Growably, then it can actually add that tag automatically for you when that form is filled out. And then it will go ahead and kick off of that workflow. But yeah, again, remember, we didn't publish the workflow. That's why you don't see it here yet. As soon as I publish that workflow, you'll see that they will be in my December 2022 nurture campaign workflow. Eric said, is there a good article or instructions on making sure your emails get delivered? I think Nigel did I believe it's on the YouTube channel. Just gotta look for it. I believe it is. He did one a couple months ago about email deliverability. Zoom out here. Yeah, so we go to the Tech Tribe YouTube channel. Yeah, right here. Here's the link here. And what I'll do is go ahead and put that in for you inside the chat. Take you straight to the video. But good question, Eric. That maximizing deliverability is key. So that was a great video he did on how to make sure that your emails actually hit people's inbox, and especially if you're using a new domain, inside of Growably, like we use go.orangenomad.com. So you can use a separate domain. Especially if you're using Mailgun or you're using the Growably version for the emails. So you'll definitely want to warm up that list. And that was a great video, real simple video on how to maximize that deliverability rate. So Eric said, perfect. Does Growably interact with Zapier? Yes, it does, Lori. But what you're going to look for is Lead Connector. That is actually the white label from High Level. And so if you go into Zapier and search for Lead Connector, there's all kinds of integrations that you can do from other apps to get that in there. One of them questioned about ConnectWise client tags. Can you create a Zap to populate Growably with a client tag? Yeah, kind of the same thing. You can, if I believe ConnectWise has a Zapier integration, so you could do things where it can push data to your Growably account. But yeah, if you have tags, you can have a Zap, so it automatically puts them into Growably. But yeah, same questions. Okay, good. So you want to look for Lead Connector. Kind of getting to our training, Lead Connector for Zapier. The Lead Connector mobile app is good on iOS or Android. That's how you can get Growably on your phone. So it's a great way to do that. And the same with your WordPress plugin. There's a WordPress plugin called Lead Connector. So that's how you get your WordPress website hooked up with Growably to be able to push data back and forth. So again, that's High Level's white label offering is called Lead Connector. But again, you use your Growably login details, and that will get you inside of, the iOS app. I think there's a WordPress, some instructions. I think it's going to require API key, which again it's in your settings inside of Growably. Lori said, "Yep, she found it. Awesome, thanks." All right, good. So that is how you would take your email nurture campaigns, regardless in what form they are, how to get them out of Mailchimp or Infusionsoft or whatever CRM platform you happen to be using. That's exactly how you would do that. Anything else? Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and continue on with our. We're getting close on time, but if there's anything you want me to go back and show you, please let me know. But I thought this was a good opportunity to answer Mark's question inside the Tech Tribe for how to do this. So I thought this was a very simplified version, a long-winded version. I apologize. But if you happen to be watching this replay on YouTube, at least you can fast forward or 2x me walking through that on how to do that. All right, so that will take care of moving from Mailchimp. So that's kind of our tutorial part of today's show. But now let's get time to give a couple shout outs to a few members that have taken action, got things done. And I specifically wanted to give shout outs. Let me put this in here in the chat so folks can click out on this too. I want to put this in the chat. That way you could go ahead and tell Jason he did a good job. One of the things that Jason did this month was he finally got off his tail. He said, I got off my tail and started sending a premium newsletter via snail mail. So he finally got a print newsletter done. And what was awesome is for Cybersecurity Month, he had poker chips stuffed in the envelopes for a lumpy mailer. Another awesome idea. So I thought, him taking action, sharing this with the tribe, but also sharing a win, which I thought this was really awesome. One of his customers says, I actually keep these flyers handy. I love the information and have actually put some of it to use, like the Microsoft Outlook tip of this month. Awesome job. Awesome idea. So he's already generating interest. So as you can see, it is useful. So how many of you do send print newsletters right now? And if you do, about how many do you send out each month? When I had my MSP, we kept that list to about 300. Some of that was current clients. Some of that was cold prospects, maybe people that we did managed services quotes for, did proposals for that didn't go with us. But we started doing that, and within 6 months, I got ROI out of that. We had to put somebody on a list that we had quoted a year or so before that, and I started putting them on our print newsletter. And lo and behold, I got a similar comment like this in an email where the person actually keeps those on his desk. And after getting 6 of those, he finally said, we're tired of our IT company with the people that they chose instead of us. And we were able to go in and close business from it. And all that from a print newsletter. And I think it cost me, let's see here, about $1 per email to do a full color envelope stamped. And I paid a college intern $50 a month to stuff the envelopes. So not a very high expense. And I got ROI fairly quickly. So good job, Jason, to you for taking action. I like to see people taking action, getting things done. So thank you for leading the charge and showing people how to get success from a print newsletter. Ramona says she sent out our first print newsletter this month, started with about 250. So hopefully that gives you some inspiration, Ramona, that you can get results, even if it's just staying on people's radar and staying top of mind. They may not need your services right now, but they might in a month from now. You just never know. So congratulations again, Jason. We're going to have Fatima send you out a $50 merch card. If you're not familiar, I'm going to put this in the chat too. The Tech Tribe does have a merch store. So I'm going to put this in the chat. So feel free to go over and grab some Tech Tribe swag if you want to show your support. A second shout out I wanted to give was Steve Haviland this month. Another win on his part. and this was a completely different. He actually an onboarding book. How many of you send onboarding books or welcome books to your customers when they sign up? Whenever you're onboarding clients, we did, and that was a huge game changer. And as Steve already has figured out, he actually found that resource. He'd been in the tribe for a while, started to poke around, found this resource, and this was awesome. Yesterday, I presented the book to a brand new 3-site customer. They were blown away. I have never been praised so much for something so simple. So congratulations to you, Steve, for getting that awesome feedback. And I wanted to give him a shout out, one, for taking action, but I'm going to scroll down here. A few of you may have asked Steve for the file, and he actually did share that. Let me go ahead and post this in here real quick so you folks can get to it if you wanted to download that sample as well. But I thought this was a great way of sharing with the fellow tribal members. So he did share his new client manual in a PDF. So I thought that was great. A great use of being able to share with the tribe to help inspire the tribe. So good job, Steve. Keep it up. We appreciate you. Who knows? This could be you next month for sharing something with the tribe, sharing your wins, taking action. But we try to do this on each of our Growably calls, is give member shout outs to folks that are taking action, getting things done, and most importantly, sharing with the greater good of the community. So again, Steve, we're going to have Fatima send you over a gift card to the Tech Tribe merch store. So look for that. Congratulations. I'm not sure whether you're on the call, Steve. If you are, Steve or Jason, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're here. Let's see. Adam did ask a question too. Did High Level get the Outlook calendar sync for appointments working properly yet? That is a great question, and they have not. Let me go back here to I think I had that at the beginning. See if I can find that link. So we need people to vote on that. See which slide I put that in. Yes, I did save that. So here's what we need to do. It's a big one, and we've been pushing High Level to do that as well. So I just put that in the chat as well. So go over to this site and vote for this. And it's, they have it as closed, but go ahead and leave a comment because I know that there were a few people still having issues with 365 calendar sync. But if you're still having issues, after, a couple days, let me know, Adam, because again, we can see what we can do on that High Level side. But yeah, definitely go over here and vote, upvote, leave a comment, because I think this is important to us as IT folks, because most of us are still on Office 365, and will be for a while. So a good question. Thank you so much for asking that question as well. Let's go here. That was all I had today as far as training. Again, this is Q&A time, so we got about 5-6 minutes left. So let me know in the comments if there's any more questions, if there's anything else that you want me to go back through and show you, or let me know whether this was helpful to you as well, whether or not me actually walking you through step by step how to do the things inside of Growably was helpful, because I'm going to take this back to Nigel and see how we keep improving these calls to provide maximum value for all you great folks. Ramona said very helpful. Lori, very helpful. Elaine, Eric, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me live today. Kathy said very helpful. David said, is Growably going to offer an email service like Mailgun? That was one of the things that they've talked about, is that was one of those back end features that they're starting to roll out. I haven't got with Nigel. Again, they just announced this last week at their giant partner conference for Mailgun and Twilio, and having all of that go through High Level. instead of through all of our individual accounts and having to sign up. But when I have my hopefully on next month's call, I can have an answer for you, David, whether or not Nigel's going to migrate over and use the high-level Mailgun account or the high-level Twilio. Not sure which direction he's going to go in, but again, you can keep using yours for now if that works for you. Oliver said yes, very helpful. Marshall said yes, always good to get a walkthrough, so that's awesome. Tom said, if a client replies to a Growably email, it goes back to Growably. That can cause issues if they try and send regular email and get that Growably address. The ways around that. That's a good one. That did come up. And let me see if I can actually show you with my dummy account. So let's just take here. If I wanted to send an email to Han Solo, so I come down here, I can click send email. Let's go ahead and pop this window up. That is one of the things that they're going to be adding in as well, is the ability to change the from address or the reply to address. They're going to add that in there for us. But this is where you would change that, Tom. So if you want that coming back into high level, or just, again, not going to your regular email address, you can change that here, or you can change it in the master settings of your initial profile. So I know that did come up. I forget who asked that question in the forums a few days ago. But that's where you would change it whenever you're actually sending out those individual emails. And you can set that as well in your in the campaign itself. So if I go back into the automation, and let's go back into the campaign that we created. And if I go to settings on that, so if you want to do this at the workflow level, you can also change the sender's from name and from email. That way, when they do reply to, it can go to the correct one. So Tom said from settings works, but not the reply to address. Good to know it is coming. Yeah, that's one of the things that is on the roadmap, is the ability to have, the reply to have the reply to be different than our normal email address. So David said, also, I am waiting to have a web page that uses dynamic URL. I want it to fill in the form and auto submit it. Any help? Let's go see if there's anything in the roadmap. Let's just do a quick search here. Not sure what they would call that on their side. Here's dynamic call tracking. Yeah, so here's one, just based upon IP. But you might want to search through, David, if you go to ideas.gohighlevel.com. It might take me a little bit to find that, and just look on the roadmap and come up here to the search. I bet they probably do have that on the, because that was one of the things that we had with Infusionsoft and some others. So when they hit a landing page, but the great thing, David, just to let you know, if you build your landing pages inside of Growably, it will automatically populate once they fill that form out for the first time. I believe it will cookie the browser to allow them to, when they come back, to be able to fill that data in. And I think that's actually a setting inside the form itself. So let me go to forms. See if I have any test forms in there. I think that is in the options, I believe. Yeah, so sticky contact is what they call that. That way, if they have a contact record, let me see if I hover over there and get that to pop back up. I'm trying to hover over that so I can read it. All right. Come on. Yeah, but I think that slider right there will allow you to kind of do what you're looking to do, which is fill out the form for them automatically. Hopefully, let me know if that's it. That's the answer you're looking for, David. Can any of this be accomplished through APIs to help automated workflow creation, for instance? Not sure what you mean, Marshall. Do you mean when it kicks off, like adding the tag to kick the workflow off using an API to do that? Um, yeah, sticky contact will autofill contact information previously entered, so you don't have to enter it twice. And again, that's done at the form level, which again, you can create the form in high level and embed it in your WordPress website using the lead connector plugin, and it will pull that information for you inside of Growably. But yeah, I would like to see something where if they click a link in an email, it can automatically populate that information. So, but yeah, let me know if that answered your question, Marshall. I'm assuming you're talking kind of referencing David's question there with the dynamic URL. Can I write a script to auto create the workflow every month rather than do it manually? I'm trying to think if you can do that in Make, or which was Integromat. You may be able to do that. I think it's just make.com now. But there are some integrations. Yeah, Make, formerly Integromat, it's kind of a Zapier competitor. But you might be able to do that and be able to script that in Make, because I know a lot of the automations that Nigel has to do, a lot of the things inside of Growably or high level are written inside of Make. So there's a lot of scripting involved, like when new user accounts are created, all the good fun stuff. So it's very possible that you could, Marshall. If you get that figured out, if you get something that works, go ahead and post that in the tribe for the rest of us too, or just to, kind of highlight that. But one of the things we are going to try to do so you don't have to create that workflow every month. And again, we're just adding these features as high level makes it more available. And we've had all kinds of issues breaking high levels API because we've got a lot of things we've been trying to roll out, but when you try to roll it out to 3,000 people at once, it is breaking all kinds of things. And Nigel's been literally pulling his hair out for the last 4 or 5 months, trying to get stuff rolled out as quickly as possible and going through that frustration. But hopefully now that they've had their big user conference last week, that we start to see some of those improvements. And that is one of the things that they promised as an improvement, to be able to increase the API limits into the thousands instead of the hundreds. So hopefully they get that worked out. Okay, so Elaine said, any chance you could cover how we set up the email from the system to show as our own business email address, not on behalf of Growably? Okay, so what you're going to need to do, Elaine, if you want, by default, the system is set up to use the Tech Tribe or Growably's Mailgun account. So if you're going to use the built-in email function that's available to you free, I think Nigel allows up to like 2,500 emails with that. If you want to set up your own domain with that, so if you go to settings, all right, so we'll go ahead and cancel out of that. So if you go to settings and then you come down to email services, and as you can see, the default provider is Mailgun, which is Growably, and then you can add a service. So in order for you to have your own email, Elaine, I'm going to come up in here. You'll need to pick a provider. Mailgun seems to be the most highly used. Let me know a couple others that are using that. I think the other one is SMTP to go. See. Yeah, so here's setting up email providers. So I'm going to go back here real quick so I can show you that. So if you click on the little question mark icon inside of Growably, and then you just type in SMTP to go or Mailgun or SendGrid, there's a lot of other integrations where you can use your own domain and you won't get that sent on behalf of Growably. So hopefully that answer your question. That's can go pretty deep. So one, you'll need to choose an email provider. And again, there's some, Mailgun. I think Nigel covers a few of those. Let me see if I can get help that. think he has got a couple articles over in the tribal forums as well. If you go, I'm going to put this in the chat for you as well, Elaine. Marshall said he can empathize. He's familiar with the dev cycle, so he feels what Nigel's going through. There you go. So here's articles on Growably inside of the Tech Tribe help section. So if you come down in here, what SMTP services can I use with Growably? I'll put this link for you, Elaine, so you can go straight to it. Yeah, so that's a thing you'll just have to decide, and he gives a few of them in there. So you'll just have to pick the provider and then set that up. And then once you get your API keys, it's if you're not sure why you need, external mail service, he leaves another article in there for that as well. So quite a few things inside the Tech Tribe help section on setting that up. But if you get stuck at any point, reach out in the forums. Elaine, we're happy to help point you in the right direction. But any other questions? Let me look at the Q&A one more time here. And I said, perfect. Thank you. Again, I know we went over, it's 1:07 here on the East Coast. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I apologize to those of you who tried to join us on YouTube. We had the reverse problem last night. Nigel was still on a call when I started the webinar, so I couldn't start the Zoom session last night, so we had to strictly go live on YouTube, and today we have the opposite problem. So go figure. Anyway, hopefully, like I said, we'll get all these gremlins worked out. Ramona said, will the training tomorrow be the same content as today or the new content covered? This will be the last Growably training for this month. We did one last night, which was a very similar training. We went a little deeper today, just because, we had some more actually show up. Again, I think a lot of people tried to show up on Zoom last night, couldn't get on. My apologies. Marshall said, yeah, definitely prefer YouTube over Zoom. Yeah, I'm sorry. I do too. But Nigel's working on the workflow, so when you guys go inside the tribal forum and you click that register button, there's all kinds of scripting we got to do in that so that you guys get the link to the YouTube live stream instead of sending a Zoom link, and it will also kick off workflow so that you get the reminders just like you did with Zoom. So we're going to have the reminders, also the calendar to be able to put it on your calendar. So that is coming. Hopefully we have that out for the next Growably call in December. That'll be our last one for 2022, which is crazy to me. But again, any other questions? I'm going to hang out for another minute or so. If not, I'm going to wrap and go get myself some lunch and enjoy the nice, right now it is 69 degrees and I'm happy about that. So I'm going to go take me a nice long walk. Ramona said, yep, thank you again. So yeah, lots of people, I'm glad you found this useful. But let me know too in the forums as you guys start using Growably, put in there and tag me in the forums as to what type of content you would like me to show you. Maybe on next month's call. Elaine said, one more question. Where is the contact type pull down to add more? So we go in here. So we go back to, we close this window here. So if I go back into contacts, let's see here, your tag, I believe we were talking about tags. Yeah, so those would be under actions, tags. This is where you would see all the tags. And again, you actually can add ones in here as well. So I can start typing, so I can add one in here. But for me, it was much easier to do them when I imported mine from Infusionsoft. I had a column for all of the tags. So if somebody had 100 tags, it would actually, it imported all of those into high level for me. So I'm at the contact type field. It currently has lead or customer options. I'm not sure we can change that. I think that is hard coded inside of high level, but I will look and try to find that answer for you, Elaine. But I do believe that that is hard coded in there as far as the contact type, whether it is a lead or a customer. I'll have to do some digging on that one for you to see if that is an editable function. Let me just go in settings real quick just to see if it is. I don't believe that it is. Yeah, because that's not in custom values. Yes, we've got, maybe it is. Here's contact type. Let's see if I can edit that, the contact type. Yeah, it doesn't let me edit. So I think, yeah, those are hard coded in there. Sorry, Elaine. So that is not something that we can edit the drop down for that at the moment. And again, if you go to ideas.gohighlevel.com, just do a quick search and see if you can find that contact type. There may be somebody may have requested that already, and you can go ahead and give them a vote to see whether or not that's something that's rolling out or not. So, but yeah, unfortunately, right now we can't change that field. Sorry. Wish I could give you a better answer. Anyway, so that's it for me. Again, we still got quite a few hanging out with me today. Again, any other questions, please let me know. And again, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that this was helpful to you and that you want to see more. That would be awesome. Marshall, yeah, it was a good question. If you add a custom field, maybe that will do it. Yeah, if you add your own custom fields, you may be able to edit one. I think that's why these are grayed out. So you could add your own drop down. Yes, you could create your own and put in your options right there. Lane says, yep, I've done that and it works. Awesome. Kathy said 3 thumbs up from Kathy. So thank you, Kathy, for that. Yeah, in the upper right hand corner, I saw add field. So, yep. And of me, I add folders. I have everything nested in folders because I'm a super nerd that way. Sure. Any other Q&As? Oh, I missed a few Q&As or a few questions from David. Forms allow the queried URL is getting the form submitted via JavaScript. Again, not super sure on that one. Sorry I missed those, David. I didn't scroll down far enough. Not sure whether you're still on the call with us or not. So, but hopefully, that answers everybody's questions. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you happen to be. But I appreciate you hanging out with me this month. And if I don't see you in the next Growably call, I'll see you inside the Tech Tribe forums. Thanks again for hanging out